We are here. We have made it to Texas Card House in Houston, and we're about to get into this action. Let's go. We buy in for $400, but before I get into any of that, there's something I gotta do first. Okay guys, so the first thing I have to do is apologize because I went to Texas Card House in Houston and we weren't able to get approval for filming unless we spoke with the manager. He wasn't there that week that we were there, so we were unable to get approval to film. So I don't have much footage for you guys and I apologize, although I will be going over some hands. But I figured I'd take this moment to say a few things, introduce myself, reintroduce myself, explain a few things, and the future of the vlog and how we're going to go about it. So number one, I want to thank all of my subscribers, all of my supporters, just you guys watching my videos, the small views I get, it means a lot to me and it keeps me pushing forward. Number two, one of the main reasons I started this vlog was to keep myself more accountable. I know we're already in May or April of 2022, but I'm super excited for this year. 2021 was a pretty successful year for me in poker, probably my most successful year in my career. I'm doing this mainly is to hold myself super accountable and to play the best poker I've ever played, to study, to progress in the game, and the dream of being a professional poker player, along with the dream of being a YouTuber. Thanks to you guys for supporting me. And if this channel grows into something, that's great. If it doesn't, I'm just going to keep going with it until hopefully it does. I want to say that I'm doing a lot of this for my family, for my loved ones, to really pursue my dreams and my passion, and hopefully create a stable income for my family, whether it be through YouTube or through poker, winning multiple WSOP bracelets, millions of dollars. You know how it is. Just, every poker player does that. But I want to thank my beautiful fiance and my daughter for supporting me through this, and my mom and my family, because I know it's a struggle sometimes as I work full-time and try to play poker full-time, part-time, and do the vlogs, and it's just a lot of work. So I thank them so much for their support. They're the reason I do this, to hopefully hit it big and take care of them in the way that they deserve to be taken care of. Also, we are going to just add a little format to the vlog where we start with a bankroll number, not necessarily a bankroll challenge, but we start with a number and plus or minus. That should start in about 1 or 2 vlogs, and that way it keeps track of everything and you guys understand what's going on more so than me just telling you my wins and losses, and we're going to use the poker tracker to really be more serious so that you guys can follow along better and see the progression and the ups and downs of how poker goes. Also, for the first time ever, I will be headed out to the World Series of Poker this year. We are planning on playing 2 or 3 events at the minimum, the Colossus, possibly the tag team, and the deep stack. We will be out there with Annie Up Life, who's also a poker vlogger. He does great vlogs. If you don't know him, check him out. So without further ado, let's get into some of this Texas poker, if you know what I'm saying. The ups and the swings and the craziness. We were in Houston. We played 2 sessions at the Texas Card House, and the first session was just a bomb. We lost a staggering 1,800, which is the largest one session loss I've ever had in my life or my poker career. And there aren't really too many interesting hands. We missed a ton of 15 plus outers, and that's pretty much mostly where we got our stack in. A few times we may have had top pair and been outdrawn, but mostly we missed every single draw that day, and I think I just got really dejected, stopped kind of recording the hands as much because there wasn't really much to offer as far as situations go. And I think you naturally, when you're in a big losing session, you start playing worse. So we're not going to go over any really interesting spots from this day. I don't think there were really too many interesting spots. I mean, there was one hand I guess I could go over where I had king jack offsuit with the king of spades, 3 spades flop with jack high, and we get raised on the flop and bet on the turn, and then a 165 river bet which was really, really value heavy, and I ended up folding, and he showed 4-7 of spades. But other than that hand, there really isn't much interesting that happened on day one other than me losing a bunch of money. Session number 2 starts off pretty decent. I think we're only going to go over about 3 hands total in this that were fairly interesting. We will start with the first hand where we pick up pocket kings. And we are in the big blind with a stack of $400. It folds around to the small blind, and the small blind raises to 15. We're in the big blind with pocket kings, and we are definitely going to 3-bet this, so we go ahead and re-raise to 45. He thinks for a second, and he calls. The flop comes down not so great, ace 7-9 with 2 clubs. But he does something weird here, and he donk leads for $75. I think this is really interesting because I just feel like if he has an ace here, like something like ace 7, ace 9, he probably check raises or check calls to trap. And I feel like if he has ace king pre-flop, I mean, it's very possible he check raises that on the flop, or he even 4-bets me pre-flop. So I think it's really weird here when he donk leads. So we decide to proceed a little bit with caution, but we're going to make the call. The turn comes the 10 of spades. Now he just jams all in $185 effective. I am very befuddled by this, and people have played pretty reckless in Texas up until this point, and this guy seems very, very aggressive. I haven't been at the table that long, but he just seems like he's ready to get stacks in with any two. And I just don't feel like I can let this hand go. I just don't see most players playing aces and ace this way, like ace deuce, ace 3, ace 4, ace 5. I mean, if he hits ace 10 on the turn, why doesn't he check? I don't know. But we decide to go with the higher variance route and make the call here, and he says we are good, and we take this first pot down. Now to genuinely the most interesting hand I've played in a long time. We have pocket queens on the button, and we have a player who just sat down with a brand new stack. Might be his first or second hand. He has a stack size about $200, and he raises to $25. There's a guy in the cutoff, and he calls the 25. We elect to 3-bet, and we are going to 3-bet large because it's Texas poker, and we make it 100 on the button. Under the gun thinks about it and then decides to call, which is half his stack. This isn't exactly what I wanted to see because more than likely it will bring along the third player, and it does, and the cutoff calls the 100, and we are off to a flop of 10-4-4. Both players check to me. And now I have a decision on sizing. I think this is a very dry board, and we should lean more towards betting. So we go ahead and bet $175 on this flop. The early position player only has about 100 left in his stack, and he thinks for a while and then makes the call. Now it's back to the cutoff, and he takes quite a while before making a decision on jamming his entire stack in for $440. And now it is on to us for $265 more, and we have a pot of $1,015. I think this situation poses a lot of interesting questions. What is the early position player's range? I mean, it could be anything from 7-7, 8-8, 9-9, 10-10, Jack-Jack. I don't think he plays aces or kings this way. It could simply be ace-4, 4-5, 3-4, ace-10. I'm not really sure. And then what is the range of the cutoff? I think his range is a lot more narrow. I also don't think he plays aces, kings, queens this way. I mean, I think it's very possible he plays jacks or tens this way. Maybe even a 4. I mean, either of them could have those in the ranges. I think it's really hard for the cutoff to have bluffs or any type of crazy draws. Then I think it's more likely that the early position player could have those, even though he's not really bluffing because he's calling off. But the pot being 1,015, I think considering some side pot implications, the main 600 and the side's only 415. So yeah, it's a total pot of over 1K. but we may not beat both players, so we don't have to hypothetically call any of the 265 extra to be eligible for the main pot, so folding here would just automatically concede the main, and we're really just calling for the side, I guess. Overall pot odds are 4-1, not that I think that they really matter here, because I mean, I don't know. I have to think, though, we are in Texas, and the likelihood of either player having ace-10 or jack-jack is very high. And given the way the action has gone, considering they both checked to me, and I bet about half pot, maybe a little over half pot, you know, I mean, I could have ace-king here, but I've seen crazier things in Texas in my first session, so long story short, I make the call. Is this the correct call? I'm not 100% sure. I think if stacks are deeper and the check raise is larger from the cutoff, yes, I think it's a fold for sure. I just think, given this particular situation against unknowns, calling 265 to win 1,300 almost isn't the worst call I've ever made. But now on to the fun part. I look at the cutoff once I make the call and ask him, does he have a 4? He shakes his head no. And I'm kind of like, oh, snap, that's some good news. So I roll my queen. Turn is the 6, and a river is a deuce. Early position player somehow shows king, and the cutoff rolls over for a epic slow roll, 10-10, for a flop full house. What an aggravating 1.3k pot to lose. 85% of our stacks gone. And about this time, the poker room manager taps me on the shoulder and says, we have to move because this is a must-move game. Being tilted at this point is an understatement. Since this is our last day in Houston and we are kind of doubling this as a vacation, we decide that we are going to start binking people. We got about $50-ish left in our stack. We grab a beer and we move to the next table and we decide, well, let's just go all in blind. So we go all in blind twice and we win 2 flips and end up getting a stack of a little over 200, and that will bring us to our last interesting hand, which I don't know if you know this, but at least at Texas Card House, there are no straight, no limit Holdem tables. So every 40 minutes, which is every time the dealer changes, there is a double board bomb pot that is Omaha, and then they have a reverse button that anytime it lands on the actual button, there's an Omaha hand. This will be our first Omaha hand review, and I don't see there being too many of these, but who knows, I might get into it after this. We are at the table and we get a new dealer, so it's a $10 every player double board bomb pot in Omaha fashion, and we get dealt queen, king 8 of hearts. Pretty good hand, I guess, and the flops come out. The bottom board is 7 queen 7, fucking bingo, let's go. And the top board is king 9 10 with the 9 of hearts. With the pot already $90, there is a early position bet. We are in later position. There is another call. I can't even remember for how much. I've just chugged 2 beers on my third one, ready to party. So we jam all in, or I'm sorry, this is pot limit Omaha, forgive me. We say pot, which essentially puts us all in. There are 2 other callers, and we are off to the races. The top board turn card is the 6 of hearts, and the bottom board turn card is the 4 of diamonds. We pretty much have the bottom board locked up, besides someone having pocket 7s. And the river on the top board is a heart. Bingo again. The river on the bottom board is the ace of diamonds. We are praying to God no one has diamonds. Since these guys had more money than us, they wanted to show the side hands first, so we had to sit here and wait, and they rolled over. I can't remember. I was so excited it didn't matter because I had the king high flush on the top and the queens full on the bottom, and I knew I was scooping as soon as I saw their hands. So we scooped this massive $700 pot, and then we go pretty much on a tear. Video of our stack where we get to recoup some of our losses from our first session. We cashed out $12.85. So we end up down on the trip $1,015 because we were in that game for 500, cashed out $12.85, so we won $7.85. But I can't say enough about how much I love Texas, how much I love Houston. So if you ever get a chance to go down there and play, the games are great, the games are juicy. I will definitely be back down. Didn't win this time. Sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it doesn't, but in the long run, that's what we're shooting for here. So I mean, I wish I would have got more footage for you guys. I desperately and deeply apologize that I didn't prepare properly and be able to get a hold of the manager in time. Thanks for watching, and please hit that like button. We are trying to do something great here for myself, my family, for the poker community, and I'm trying to really give you guys as much as I can. If you guys want to see anything different from me, anything more from me, please let me know in the comments. Also, if you guys have any advice on some of the hands I went over, please hit me in the comments. Hit me up on Instagram, Twitter. Here are my socials. And as always, see y'all next time.